I connect myself a little bit earlier. We have 2 minutes, so let's wait for people to join. I'm going to start maybe by lighting a candle. And if you are catching the replay, we are going to wait for graphic journaler to show up. Where can I put this? Here. Go pour yourself a hot beverage. And I'm going to... No. This is the journal where I have the class, the notes for the class. Allora. Okay, welcome back. Welcome to today's class. For those who already catched the replays, or for those who Justine, you know, maybe Isabel, you don't, it's the first time, but we are doing a sort of series of classes that I call the inner journey, just because every time we do some series of exercise, and I thought it was fun to have this kind of title. We had the first class called Desire and Presence. The second was From Balance to Inner Energy. The third one was Take Up Space. The fourth one was Integrating the Year, because it was the December class. And then in January, we had a class around desire. And in February, the sixth class of this series, that the title was Going with the Flow. So we are at the seventh class of this inner journey we are taking during the whole winter and spring, the whole academic year. And so my idea was doing a class on the boundaries, and I had prepared the class around boundaries. But then I changed my mind, because there are so many things happening in the world right now, that I can bet that if you are like me, watching the news, watching social media, or it's like very, very asphyxiating, like it's too much. So the title of the class of this seventh inner journey will be Staying Human in Hard Times, working with fear like working around the fear we may have. Before we start, as usual, we are just going to take with us our graphic journal. Keep with you your pens, your pencils, your art supply pouch. And we are just going to start with a quick meditation, just like breathing exercises. And then once we have done, we are going to make a self-portrait. I'm going to guide you. Just taking the iPad to have the eyes on the clock. We often do this kind of exercises with the timer. So before we start, open your journal at the new page you have available, and then we are going to relax, sit back, roll the shoulder, close the eyes, and we are going to take the time to just concentrate on our belly expanding when we breathe in, contracting when we breathe out. We can use the contraction of the belly to help us breathing out the air. And the same when we want to breathe in, we relax the belly. So breathe in, expand the belly. Breathe out, contract the belly like a sponge, make the air going out. Breathe in, breathe out. Again, relax the belly, breathe in, expand the belly, and then breathe out. Bring the navel to the spine, contract the belly as it's a sponge. Breathe out. And when you breathe in, relax the belly, expand the belly, and breathe out, and so on. We are going to go a few more cycles on our own. And when we breathe in and breathe out, while we breathe, we try to feel our body, to notice if we can manage to have one straight line from our butt to the top of the head. So we want to have our heart stuck over the pelvis and our head stuck over our heart in one vertical line perpendicular to the chair. Notice what are the actions you need to do to stay straight in a vertical line. Do you need to roll the shoulder? Do you need to engage the abdominal muscle? Do you need to, I don't know, adjust the head, the hips? And while we do this, let's also feel the weight of the arm and notice the place where your hands touch. Maybe your legs, maybe they are in your lap, maybe your hands are on the chair. Whatever they are, try to feel. And we are going to do the same. We are going to notice the contact between the feet and the ground. Where do your feet or your legs touch the ground? Where the legs touch the chair? Notice this space, this contact, and don't forget at the same time to notice where the hands touch your legs, and at the same time also notice your posture, your vertical posture, and also stay mindful of the breathing all at the same time. We're going to two more cycle of breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. One more time, breathe in And then breathe out the more you can, empty your lungs. And then we can slowly come back to the room. And we are going to take our best pencil or our favorite color. If you are catching the replay, go in front of a mirror. If you are here, click on your face on Zoom, and maybe you are able to enlarge your face in order to see yourself and use your screen as a mirror. And let's go for just like a self-portrait. Doesn't have to be realistic. It doesn't have to be like you just look at your face and try to draw on the page what you see. Okay. Up. Ok, allora come succede qui? So today's class will be how we stay present when the world like it's on fire and it produces for us fear or rage and desperation or whatever. And so the idea of today's class will be for the container of this 1 hour and a half we are going to have, a little less than 1 hour and a half, but until the end of the class, we are going to use this Gurdjieff idea of all the idea of all the things that the world produces, all the things that we perceive He calls it impressions. So we are going to assume that all we see from the news on the television, I was saying the news on the radio, we don't see them. We hear the news on the radio, or the dog we see in the park while we work, going to work, and we walk in the park or whatever. All the things that from outside come inside, he calls these impressions. And so the idea is not about what is the impression, but it's like all the impressions are the same, are things that we perceive, that we enter, they enter our mind. But the difference of those impressions is how we react to those impressions. So the inner journey for today is we are using this class to don't denying what we see, but we use this. We are going to use those classes as a way of observe those impressions. Don't totally stay in this impression. Don't let those impressions devour us. But in the meantime, we observe them, so we don't deny them. It's not about the world is on fire, but you know what? I only want to think about positive things. Only want to say in the positive. The rest doesn't exist, because life it's impossible to. Okay, just a moment. I'm going to mute you. Can I mute? Sorry. Or maybe Isabelle. Can you, est-ce que tu peux te muter, couper ton micro? C'est super, parce que I couldn't make it myself. Perfect. Thank you so much. So the idea is not about, okay, since we are in the graphic journaling, we are going to ignore what's happening and just focusing on our inner journey, on our boundaries or whatever. But in the meantime, what can we do to don't let the impression of the world devour us? So this is the idea of today's class. So maybe before we start, maybe we need more one more thing about this Gurdjieff concept. Of course, we don't have to appreciate Gurdjieff, but or whatever. I'm just always in these classes using concept and use them as a way of graphic journal. And this idea of the world produces those impressions, and the problem are not those impressions, but the way I react, the way I identify with them. And the thing is, this is very important, is this way of perceiving is not that when we identify with those impressions, we lose presence within ourselves, and so we lose energy, and so we lose the capacity to act, to change what we don't like. So it's not about it's just don't seeing what's happening. Is I don't want to let myself consuming in a way that is not like observed from everything I see that happen in the world that I don't like. I don't want to identify with everything that comes to me every time I open maybe social media and I see I don't know, Epstein files and Gaza and Lebanon and all the things that are very scary. But I don't want to identify in order to don't feel like blocked with fear, and therefore I can't act in the world to make a change. So this is very important what we are doing today. We are not like spiritual bypassing just to feel good, but it's just a way to cope in order to act in what we can um, change. Okay, stop. I will stop talking. Maybe we will come back to this later, but let's start with the first exercise. I'm going to put a timer, and you are going to go to the next new page you have. And in the next new page, I'm going to put a timer, and we are going to like stay in this sensation of the beginning of the class, like we breathe from the belly, we stay straight on the chair, and then we put our pen on the paper. You can, maybe you can even close the eyes if you want, or in a way use a soft gaze, and we are going to like downloading in the cloud, but on the page, uh, all like the impression we received this past week, for example. So we put on paper like shapes. You can put words if you want, you can put color, and just make all the things you saw, that maybe there are funny things, scary things, whatever you perceived this past week. We are going to put it on paper in a way that is not figurative. You like doing like an abstract painting, or you can use also word, whatever feels more comfortable. But we are not doing like, we are not how do you say in English? We are not taking time for each item. Like I made a good sentence, or drawing something realistic. No, we are just like emotionally downloading on the page. Okay, let's put a 5-minute timer. Let's go. Sorry, I put 5 seconds. Okay, go. Okay. Do you need more time? It's okay, 5 minutes? Okay. So before we continue, what we can do is, um, let me find, we can take maybe one more minute if you need to just write down, if you did like shapes or colors, write down few words of impressions or feelings, just to make it translate all this into few words, because to continue we will need a few words. Okay, so maybe 30 seconds. Let's go. Okay, so we put all those impressions on paper. What we are going to do is that, in the next page, we are going to do a list. We can use some element of this page, or maybe there are more, maybe there are different, whatever. On the next exercise, we are going to write down as a list. So in the graphic journal, we use a lot of this system of doing list. In the same way, we make a grocery shopping list by just writing down name of ingredients. And if we want to cook cookies, we don't go like, okay, to make cookies I have to put the flour into a pan or whatever. I don't know how you do cookies. Maybe you don't put the flour into a pan, but anyway, you don't write down sentences, because we need to be like, very effective. We scan through our body, we scan through our memory, and we write down without thinking about it so much about the form. Okay, so in the same way we do the grocery shopping. This is the reason I use this analogy. The prompt will be, let's make a list of the things that scare me, scares me about the world right now. um, Things that are like scary or anxiogenous, or whatever you say in English, like all the things that make you live in a state of fear. And I'm going to put a timer. The rule of this list timer exercise is that we don't stop writing until, like, if the timer doesn't go off. So we continue writing, and if we cannot start writing, just draw a spiral. And anyway, uh, can be everything. Don't question why I'm writing this down. Sometimes things pop to our mind, and can be from cockroach to nuclear bomb, whatever. It's not, we are not making a hierarchy of what is allowed to be more scary for you. So let's go for a 1 minute list, 1 minute and a half. Let's go. Okay, the timer has sound. Um, and now we are going to pick up three colors that maybe are not so similar to the colors you are writing with. If you are writing with black, maybe don't use dark violet or brown. Anyway, pick up three colors. And what we are going to do is that we are going to think and see um, all the list that we put on paper, and we are going to do something that may be very useful, maybe can be something therapeutic or even stoic if you think about it. But we are going to divide the element on this list in three categories. This is the reason we have three colors. We are going to decide and then circle. Maybe you will do yourself a little legend. You say this in English, a legend. Yes, yeah. You put like for me orange. I put this is not orange, the green, and on the side I can write down the meaning and so on. And we have three categories we have to choose from. And those three categories are things I cannot control, like in this list. So it's geopolitics, scandals, system of powers, all those things I cannot control. The second category will be things I can influence in some way. And these can be things I can influence by community, conversation, solidarity, voting, going to vote, or helping others. And the third category will be all the things I can control. So where I can give my attention, how I act with people around me, my body, for example, how I treat my body, how I speak, or how I interact with my body, or my work as artist. Here, all people who do the graphic journal are artists, or the way you do your passions. So those are the things that give this last category are the things that gives me back power without negate what's happening in the world. It's just a way of making this. So three colors, three categories, okay? Things I cannot control, things I can influence, and things I can control. You can start by making the little legend near your list. It will be easier to don't forget. It's important because sometimes when we go back to our graphic journal and we don't know what's happening on the page. Also, sorry, if it can be more easy to understand or not, the the things I can control, I wrote down also described as thing I can care for, thing I can take care for. Okay, now that we did the legend, let's go doing this for 1 minute. I put 1.5 minutes. Anyway, let's go like this. You just circle with the colors the element of the list. Sometimes you can have maybe 2 colors in one section, in one item of the list. Maybe there are things you cannot control, but in some way you can influence and so on. Okay. So if you need more time or not, it's okay. What we are going to do next is we are going to visually put all this into a sort of concentric, how do you say? Concentric
circles.
Circle. En fait, I wanted to say in Italian, it's called like the Venn diagram. I was thinking about this, but then I said, no, this is not the name. Anyway, so
Diagramme de Venn.
Diagram de Venn, but in Italian it's insiemi. They are the together, so it calls togethers. Just a few seconds to take this list and put it on paper. So I was like, maybe I say like this because the thing is, I thought about this list in something like concentric circle, but I'm not sure if it's the right graphics because I drew the concentric circle or like things I can care, I can change, things I can influence, and things I cannot control. But it's very weird because in this way, all are things I cannot control. So maybe it's weird. What can we do? I want to put them like on paper. Do you have an idea?
Well, yeah, we can do like a. May I?
Yeah.
We can do like a. So this is the circle of things that I can't control. And if this the circle, I don't know if you see anything what I'm doing actually.
It's in some way, yes.
Well, can do like. Because I felt like in my list there were things that were at the same time I feel like I can't control them, but I actually maybe I can, because if I were speaking up, I would be able to control them. So there's probably nothing in the center, but I feel like some of my things were probably between two of them at times.
You are right because you are right because also for me when I circled with the colors the list, some like things I cannot control. There is death, of course. This I in some way I cannot control, even though I actively do something to procure the death. But the death, it's like out of our control. But for example, there were some things like yeah, I don't know, for example, sickness. I was like, yeah, maybe something I cannot control if I get sick, but in some way I can in some way influence, like maybe taking care of myself. We know that this doesn't make you not sick,
Mm.
of course, but effectively every day I I drink drugs or snort alcohol. I'm joking. If I do things actively to maybe procure myself sickness, yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe there are things that, as you say, are not so like in a way or another. So maybe we can do like this. Let's do Venn diagram. So what we are going to do is with the colors you chose before, you are doing the Venn diagrams in the way that they touch like this. And then, okay, so you know the color code. I don't know if I can draw this. What? How? Like this. Okay. Okay. And so you know the color code, and then we are going to take a timer and we are going to write in this item on the list. Maybe you will be writing the same words, and it's okay, but maybe there are other things that pop to your mind. Let's take sorry. Let's take 2 minutes and then we'll see. Let's go. 2 minutes and a half, because I have always these 30 seconds already.
You're freezing. Oh,
Justine, you have the microphone open.
oh. And my podcast.
Use the colors you already put, so it's mm, Okay. For the next exercise, now that we have put on paper all this impression, all these yes, those impressions, uh, what's happening to my we are going to go to the next exercise, and one thing that I wrote down also about the motivation of this class is that if we take the time to make space to those fears, in some way we become a container to feel those fears, to observe also, and we doing what we did right now, we catalogated, we hierarchize it, like, okay, this is I cannot control, this maybe in some way I can influence. So doing this, maybe I hope it feels less overwhelming. And also something that I wrote down about this exercise, I don't know if it's strictly related, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, is that sometimes when we have fear, we feel threatened, um, we may react to fear with the will to isolate ourselves, and isolation creates even more fear of what's happening, of the other, of some people different from us, what's the threat, and all things. And so I wrote down that maybe, I don't know if for you, but when I was doing these exercises, that those part that I can influence, this part of the field that I feel I can care of, I can control in some way. And when I say control, this is the reason before I correct myself. Control is not something I can control this fear. I mean, like I cannot make it go away, but more like I can care of this. I think I can take care of this. And when we do this, we can observe that sometimes the opposite of fear and the isolation of fear comes from looking for community. Community give us stability, and so yeah, I just wrote down this, and I think it was important to remember this. And one other things before we go to the next exercise is this. I sometimes I listen to podcasts around this like a psychotherapy technique called IFS. It's like an internal family system. I didn't have therapy around this, but I was listening to a podcast. It was very interesting. And I think it's very connected to this idea of Gurdjieff of we have all different parts of ourselves that try to make the work of ourselves going into the world and function as human, and they all work together to make us, being a human. And this is the theme of the class: how we stay human in this moment in which we are like in fear or in weird situation. And for example, if we talk about this, the theme of the class, like what's happening happening in the world and how can I cope with those impressions, the IFS would say, in the situation we have different part of ourselves. There is one part that maybe is like scared, but then there is one part that is angry, with the situation. And there is one part that like switch off. How do you say? Isolate, dissociate. There is one part that just want to love and be loved, and then there is one part that want to act and go to manifestation and things like this. And so the next exercise will be mm, uh, trying to do a work that will not eliminate the fear, but the work is not letting the fear rule all who we are, rule all our being human. This is maybe just one part of ourselves. So, in which way we can manage to make all those parts work together? I don't know, but what we are going to maybe discover in the next exercise. So, the next exercise will be go to the next new page, and we are going to observe all this part of ourselves, all those parts that choose this list we did, the list of the fears, then we put in the Venn diagram, and we are going to, on the page, in the way you want, let's draw the portrait of all this part of ourselves: the scared one, the isolate one, the one who it's like angry or whatever you can observe. My idea will be start from one and then observe another, then another, then another. Don't try to draw all them at once. You can draw in whichever way you want on the page. You can draw like a group picture, like all together, or you can, maybe they have different sizes, maybe they stay in different, like divided. Maybe there is one that it's bigger, one that is quite invisible. Maybe you want just to draw them as like color stains, but in this you can do it like abstract way, you can do it, but please write on the side what each color stains is for, because you will need to know even in the next exercise. Yeah, let's go. I'm going to put a timer. 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Let's go. Okay, we are still going to stay a little bit in this exercise. I'm going to add a few minutes to make each character you draw. You make a small balloon and you are going to make them talk few words, one small sentence. If they can talk, what would they say? And like in a small comics, you just add words coming up from their mouth. Mm, mm, mm. Let's go. Okay, so now that you draw all those parts inside yourself up, we are going to add one character, and the character is the one who observed all all them all those character, the one who was able to see that there are different character, and that was able to see them and draw them. Who this, come this, how they say, the young people, who this on the on no, I'm not a young, so well, who is this person? I, I would say, I could, you can call it like your consciousness or your inner self. Um, anyway, we are going to draw this character. Um, it's like the character that see the fear, that see the anger, that realize that sometimes those characters are in control, but that they are part of a bigger part of a bigger part. And so I'm going to give you a few minutes to go back on the drawing, observe, feel if there is this other character that observe themselves. Can you draw them in which way? Okay, 5 minutes. And while you draw this character, also think about if this character is saying something, maybe it's not the observer, you make it like talk, maybe it's something they can say. Okay. Now that we did this, maybe you made this all those character talk. Let's do a very quick exercise, the last one, written. Let in the next page or wherever you want. Let's write down a sentence, a word, a list, whatever you want, thinking about one small way to stay connected to humans. Is not something like something we can do, not in like, yeah, I want to save the world, I'm going to do this and that. Just the next step. What is the next action you can take now in order to stay connected, to don't stay alone in fear, but doing the opposite that we said, staying connected to other humans, don't go hide under a rock. And so can be like very small, like concrete action, help a neighbor, cook with a friend, with your family, or write a message, send a text message, or can also be, yeah, maybe tomorrow you can go manifest in the street, and it's okay, but there is like what make you feel good, and what make you feel connected. Maybe it's also a list. Okay. I guess that's it. One thing that I want you to take with you after this class is that the work can be terrifying, but also not ever, not always. And in some way, we cannot make fear become our identity. And so we can acknowledge the darkness of the fear, but then we go past it in some way and we choose connection instead. Okay, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed the class. Do you have any question? Okay, you can take a picture if you want of your page and come to the chat on Patreon, where you can post your pages, so that all the people who didn't come today, maybe because it was very sunny outside, or maybe because they were manifesting because it's March 8th, in any way, they can see those pages, and maybe now they are watching the replay. Yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Grazie mille. Merci beaucoup. À la prochaine. Ciao, ciao. J'arrête. Bye bye.